Blog Talk Radio.
Thank you for joining us at Reform to Freedom Ministries, where we share stories of those who have triumphed over challenges beyond the prison bars. Hear credible testimonies from prison advocates, social activists, and legal experts which can bring impeachment. Join us each Thursday at noon for the latest.
And good morning and welcome to Reform to Freedom Ministries, and this is your host, Ms. Diane Winbush. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on today. And so today, you know that, let me give you a little bit dialogue and history about us real quick. And so what our ministry does is we hear stories from individuals. We hear stories from alleged offenders. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And so this show is not to condemn anyone and try to say that a person is guilty of any crimes, but we love to listen. We love to hear their stories so they can be able to share. So thank you so much for joining us today. So we have a special guest that is in the studio, and he is none other than Darrell Craig, and we're going to let him come in and share a little bit about him. And we want to start first with Darrell, as for you to share with the audience as to a little bit of the your younger ages, your younger years, and then lead it up to the adult stage of your lifestyle. And so you can go ahead and do that at this time.
Okay. Most definitely. Well, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I grew up in the Ninth Ward, New Orleans, with me and my mama. My daddy died when I was young, at the age of 1. He was murdered in the streets. So I grew up with just me, my mama, and my sister, my grandmother. My grandmother really raised me. You know, she taught me morals and values and things like that, how to be family-oriented. You know, so just that family bond, you know. So just growing up in New Orleans, I was going to school and stuff. I graduated high school from John Mack High School. In 2005, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, and I had to evacuate. I evacuated to Houston, Texas, and I stayed out there for a little while, and I was working and stuff like that, doing pest control work, and that's around the same time that I was wrongfully convicted and falsely accused for this crime right here that I'm facing.
Okay. So it appears that you had a good background and a good upbringing, and you wanted to be able to work continually, even after the morals that, you know, what your parents or grandparents or guardian may have taught you. So in regards, let's get a little bit just into the case. And as I shared with your advocate, we do not share names. We do not share institutions because we don't want to get into any legalities with any type of institutions, or we don't want to get into any legalities, period. A lot of people are very serious about, tort claims in lawsuits for defaming their names and characters. So we'll talk a little bit about your case and what have you. So in regards to your case, take us a little bit around that situation, because a lot of times individuals are whatever. They're innocent, some are guilty, some are innocent. So we want to hear your story as to what happened and how did the justice system bring a conviction to you in regards to what it is that you have been charged and sentenced with.
Okay. In 2006, a robbery had occurred in the state of Mississippi. So at the time of this robbery, I was in Houston, Texas at the time, you know, and I wound up getting arrested, and they told me that I was wanted for robbery in Mississippi. So when I got to Mississippi, I'm talking to the investigators, and I'm letting them know that it got to be a mistake, that I don't know nothing about a robbery, you know. So they telling me that they had a witness that said that that I committed a robbery. So once I got my motion of discovery, I found out that the witness who they had that said that I committed the robbery was my cousin's boyfriend, you know. And me and him had friction because in the past he was threatening my cousin like that. So, and my cousin was close, and I told him, you know, don't be threatening my cousin. So that kind of had bad blood in between us. But before that, you know, we was all right because when Hurricane Katrina hit, me and my cousin sought refuge at his mama's house, you know. And when I was over there, I had left a pair of boots over there, you know. So, you know, me and him had bad blood and things like that. So he was originally arrested for the robbery, you know.
Okay.
And when he was arrested for the robbery, his perfect opportunity was to implicate me in the robbery so he could get released, you know, because when we went to trial, he was facing his third strike. I never been in trouble, never. You know, I was a first-time felon. And the DA said that he won't seek the habitual sentencing, you know, and he will only get accessory after the fact. But he was originally the original suspect for this crime. So how you not going to seek the habitual, you know? So if he wouldn't have not implicated me, he would have been seeking the habitual for it. So I was like the scapegoat for them, for him to get away, you know? Then his family was, some of his family was law enforcement and things like that. So as we went to trial, they said that they had a boot, and the boot had my DNA in it. It said that the boot wasn't a match, but it couldn't be excluded. But it had like 5 different people's DNA in it, you know. And I told them that were my boots, but I left them boots over there like over a year ago before the crime even happened, you know. So I'm telling them that if it got 5 people DNA in it, letting you know that it was more people wearing these boots than me. Because if it was just mine, they'll just have only my DNA in it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they came with the boot like right before the trial. So it's like they didn't give us time to prepare for it. It's like they ambushed us with it. But when the witness came and testified, the witness came and said that I didn't commit the crime. Then he came back and said that I did commit the crime, you know. But he never said he seen me do it. He just said that he seen me around the area, which was false because I had 2 witnesses to say that I was in Houston, Texas at the time, you know, which was my grandmother and my ex-girlfriend. And the jurors still found me guilty, you know, after despite seeing the evidence that I was clearly in another state, they found me guilty. And it's really because the witness was from around that town, and I was from a whole nother city, from New Orleans. So they try to use that basis that, like, the reputation that New Orleans had, like, I was a bad person. But I never been in trouble. He the one been in trouble. He was facing his 3rd felony, you know. So that just shows that they wasn't looking for justice. They were just looking for a scapegoat. They were just looking for somebody to, you know, take the fall for this crime.
So how do you feel about, okay, so now this incident occurred in 2005, am I correct?
2006.
2006.
2006. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's still a long time. Okay, so how do you feel about as to how the justice system may have adjudicated your case in regards to them convicting you on someone else's testimony as an eyewitness. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that the justice system was strong enough to be able to have these types of components, these things against you, or of them saying, or they taking someone else's word in order to bring a conviction against you? How do you feel about how the justice system may have handled your case at that time?
Well, I feel like they dropped the ball in my case as well as they do every day, because when they give the instructions to the jury, they tell them you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, without a reasonable doubt. Mm-hmm. And there's too much doubt in this case. There's nothing that you could say clearly that I committed this crime. None of the witnesses, the victims could say that I did it. They didn't even show the tape. Of the crime, They just said it was a person with dreadlocks, and then they just put me in it, you know what I'm saying? Showed a picture of me and said my hair was consistent of the suspect's hair, but they couldn't say my face was proven to be seen doing these things, so it's just crazy, and it happens every day, and people don't know the law, so when you don't know the law, you don't know your rights, and that was one of my problems. I didn't know all of my rights, so I'm just listening to lawyers and things like that. A lawyer don't care about you, you know what I'm saying? It's just a job for them, so they just worry about they check, that's it, but this your life you're dealing with, so the best thing for us to do is to learn the law, even if you're not involved in any criminal activity. Learn the law, because you're a citizen of the United States, so you should know your rights, you know what I'm saying, just as being an American citizen. Mm-hmm. So make sure you know your rights and know the law. And that way, if you know the law, then they can't just do the things to you that they'll do an ignorant person who don't know the law.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. So now, do you feel that it would have been a change into how the jury may have convicted you or stated that you were guilty in regards to you having a paid attorney versus a public defender? Because now we talk to offenders all the time. We advocate for offenders all the time. We help offenders all the time. And so a lot of times I have read some cases where you can read between the lines where the public defenders have given the convicted or alleged offender over to the prosecutor. You can see it straight in the paperwork. You can see it in the files. You can see it, where they're playing together on the same team trying to bring a conviction against the individual. So do you feel that, and some paid attorneys do it too, I found that out too about a couple of months ago, that the paid attorneys will go right in there and they're just as buddies with the judges, which there is no law that can prevent. I know we talked about that for years. A lot of individuals have about, it's wrong for the judges to be able to eat out with the attorneys. But according to the new law book that I had received, there is nothing to be able to prevent or prohibit them from being able to from interaction with each other. So they can do that. So anyway, in regards to the question, back to the question, do you feel that it would have went another way? Did you have a paid attorney or did you have a public defender to represent you?
Well, actually, I did have a paid attorney, but really it's like it really doesn't matter where it does matter, but when you're dealing with the paid attorney, they just got to have your best interests at heart. They got to be a person with a good track record, because if you get the wrong person, like they call lawyers sharks. And we know what sharks do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, of course the public defenders, they're going to sell you out, because some of them have hearts, but they got so many cases, so they're not going to work. They're not going to work as hard. They might have 15 cases, and they might actually have a heart, but they're not going to put all the work into it because they're underpaid, and they overwork. Now, some of them don't have no heart, so they're going to sell you out quick. You know, then some of the paid attorneys, like you spoke about, the paid attorneys, some of them, you know, they golf with the prosecutors or the judge. They go on hunting trips, so they partners, you know, and they'll use their influence to help you get out or whatever. Or they'll use their influence to get you convicted. So you just never know. You know what I'm saying? You gotta just try to find the best people who have a heart and who will try to represent you to get you free. And also you need to learn the law yourself. So when you see they doing something not right, you can instruct them, this what I want to do. Because, you know, when dealing with lawyers work for you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, they can give you advice, but what you tell them to do, that's what it is. You know, they can advise you and say, I think you should do this, but it's you. It's your life. So if you say, no, I want to do it like this because this say this, and then that's how you got to ride, you know. But if you don't know, you listening to these lawyers, you know you done gave them all these $1,000, and he telling you these good things, you just having hope. You just want your freedom, man, you know. And a lot of times they just you just vulnerable, you know, and they come get your money just like, you know how it is. So that's my answer on that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, of course. Of course, you're doing fine. I would like to ask another question, and then I got about two or three more questions, and then we'll conclude the interview. So the next question I would like to ask is, what would you like to say to your family at this time? Our shows, they are distributed over many platforms. And of course, I'm pretty sure that your advocate will be sharing it as well once, you know, we get everything edited and what have you. What would you like to say to your family that is behind, you've been, incarcerated ever since 2006, and I know that can be a burden on your family members as well. So what would you like to say to them or to any family members that you have that perhaps may be going down the wrong road and perhaps maybe need to hear some positive nuggets that you have to give to them as to how they need to stay on the right main road as for a successful life?
Okay, for all of my family, to all my family that been here for me, I just want to let y'all know I appreciate y'all for standing tall with me through all the tough times when I had to sacrifice and put everything on the line, you know, because family support is much needed when you up in here because that could keep you in a comfortable situation, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, you know, it keep you in a comfortable mind to know that, well, I could call my mom and talk to her, or my sister, or my cousin, you know, my uncle, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, that puts you in a comfortable mind, know that, well, they're going to come visit me, you know, and it makes doing your time more easier. So I just want to let my family know that I appreciate y'all, and I'm going to be coming home soon, you know, so just continue to stand tall with me, and, you know, free the Darrell Craig movement.
Okay, absolutely. So, and this I think will be probably the last question. We're probably going to go ahead and wrap it up. And so the last question that I would like to ask is for you to be able to share with the audience as to how they can become a part with you, with your advocate in trying to help adjudicate for your release. What can they do? How can they get involved? How can they connect with your team as to how they can be more effective of learning more about you as well?
Okay. You could go on Instagram, Free Darrell Craig Movement. You could go on YouTube, Pure Natural Oasis, Free Darrell Craig Movement, or go to purenaturaloasis.com. And also, I have a petition, sign a petition. The link in my bio on Free Darrell Craig Movement on Instagram. So just check it out. I got a lot of positive things going on. And, you know, everybody can check me out and see the progress that I'm making. So support the movement, join the movement, Free Darrell Craig Movement.
Okay, absolutely. And I would like to extend that opportunity to you if there is anything that or some pertinent information that you would like to share on the show. You're free to come onto the show anytime that we have availability for you, and of course we'll check out those sites as well as what you shared with the audience. Your advocate is also on the line as well, and we thank her tremendously for being right there with you. So thank you again for being our guest on today, and so we wishing you the best and everything in your endeavors, okay?
Yes, thank
okay,
you. Thank
too.
you.
Okay,
we
you're welcome.
appreciate you for having us.